Welcome in to episode 2 of the Bat Flip podcast, exclusively covering Tennessee baseball. I'm Landon Raby. With me, Dylan Taylor, Murphy Carlton. Want to thank our sponsors real quick: Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. Also, our network, the Volunteer Roadshow, making this show possible. Big weekend for Vols. Big weekend on the road in Athens, getting the series win. Almost had the sweep, but it was a good milestone weekend as well. You had Tony Vitello become the fastest coach to 100 victories in Tennessee baseball history. You had the first time winning an opening series in SEC play since 2014, and then Blade Tidwell getting SEC Freshman of the Week. It was the first time a Vol has gotten that honor since Zach Osborne did in 2009. So just overall a good weekend. You showed what you could do against a quality opponent in Georgia, against some really good pitching, and you proved that you're here to compete in this league. So what was, Dylan, I'll start with you. What was your overall take on this weekend?
About as good as a start as you could ask for. I mean, you hope for the sweep, but I mean, you can't get much closer to winning a game than we did on Saturday and lose it. I mean, it's rough. You know, you had a couple errors there in the ninth, but no complaints from me, really. I mean, that was a solid start to the year. It's what you're looking for. It kind of answered a question that I know I had on the last show of, is Tidwell going to be somebody that in SEC play is going to continue his hot start to his freshman year? And I think he went above and beyond that call. So all around, I thought it was really good. Drew Gilbert, solid. Liam Spence, solid. I know that was a couple of guys we highlighted on the last show. So no complaints from me, really. I thought it was a solid series all around.
Murph?
Yeah, it's always fun when you beat Georgia. I think we talked about it last week. Yeah, I don't have any complaints either. I think, unfortunate not to pick up that Saturday win. You had chances to score some more runs there, but it just sometimes is how baseball goes. So, yeah, I mean, great effort this weekend. I think that, like you said, this team showed they're ready to compete in this conference and, hopefully can continue the upswing that they're on moving throughout the rest of the season. But, yeah, I'm impressed with this team. I said it on Twitter the other day. They're dangerous, and you got to look out. You can't look past this Tennessee team anymore, so better watch out.
Yeah, well, we might not have the size as other SEC teams, but we have the toughness, and it proved this weekend. Guys like Connor Pavoloni, who took a beating this weekend, especially on that Sunday game. He caught all 3 games, and then he was the insurance run in the ninth. Scoring on a sac fly after his previous at bat, took one off the knee when he slid into home, gets hit with the baseball. So he took a beating. I'm sure he got a nice little ice bath after this weekend. But just guys like that, guys like Drew Gilbert who come in to Sunday having 1 hit in the series and goes 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and then dropping that game on Saturday. You can go about it one or two ways. You can dwell on it and let it carry over into Sunday, or you can respond the way that this Tennessee team did on Sunday and go out and win that rubber match. So I thought they showed a lot of toughness and grit, and again, just ready to compete in the SEC. So guys, what we mentioned some players this weekend. So what are some more players that really stood out to you, Murphy? I'll start with you on this one.
For me, the guy that kind of stands out the most, I think Dylan mentioned him, was Liam Spence up at the top of that order. He just continues to hit, get on base. When you have a guy at the top of the order that can get on base consistently, set the table for the middle of the order, allows guys like Jake Rucker, Gilbert, Jordan Beck to, drive them in, manufacture runs however you can. I think we mentioned it last week, playing a little bit better small ball. So whenever you get Liam Spence on base at the top of the order, that takes a lot of pressure. And, you guys already talked about Tidwell. How impressive was he? I mean, just lights out. He continues to impress after each start. And that's kind of what I was a little concerned with coming into the year was, you guys talked about it getting into the conference play, but can he take what he learns from each start and kind of continue on improving and developing with each start? So hopefully he continues with that. You don't want to see a guy, a young pitcher take steps back in the next start. So those 2 guys really stood out for me this weekend for sure.
Yeah, I think William Spence was 6 for 14 in the series. I mean, just another, and he's already been on base twice in the game that's currently going on right now against Eastern Kentucky. So yeah, just Mr. Reliable again, just doing what he does.
Yeah.
Dylan, who are some guys that really stood out to you?
It's funny you mentioned him because it was Pav to me. I mean, that's somebody that if you get him going along with how Spence is rolling, how Ferguson's been rolling, Gilbert, we just mentioned him. Kind of a quiet weekend till Sunday, but I mean, I think me and you, Landon, that voted him our MVP last show. So I mean, you get Pav going with them. How about his speed too off third base on that sac fly? That's what I couldn't get out of my mind. I mean, judging from me, former catcher, former washed up athlete now, I'm not the fastest guy. So it was enjoyable to see Pavoloni just putting it all on the line out there. You know, you're going to take hits, and the kid's just tough. So if you got a backstop back there like that, a leader of your team, preseason All-American, that like Ferguson's willing to put it all on the line, you love to see it.
Yeah, I think Blade Tidwell is one that's obviously going to stand out. 7 in a third innings pitch, 6 strikeouts, 4 hits, 1 earned run. I mean, against, to be your first time pitching in the SEC, that's got to be like, I would be nervous to death because that's like basically major league players, future major league players you're going against as a true freshman, and to go out there and dominate the way he did was, really, really something. I think we all mentioned kind of like he looks like the real deal, but we'll find out really this weekend if he is, and he looked to kind of answer the bell there. Another guy that really stood out to me, Jake Rucker. When you need a clutch hit, he's the one that always comes to mind. He had the grand slam on Friday night, and then he gave Tennessee the lead on Saturday before the 9th inning with another 2-run shot. So it seems like anytime Tennessee really needs a hit, Jake Rucker is always the one to step up in that position. So MVP for me this weekend, I'm gonna go Blade Tidwell in the rubber match. I think that's a solid pick. So I'm gonna go with that. If y'all have the same or different one, that's fine. But Murphy, who's your MVP this weekend?
I probably would have said the same, but just to be different, I'll go with Spence. I think value at the top of the order, getting on base, scoring runs, and great defense at short too. So that's huge for me. So I'll pick Spence for that one.
Okay.
From this series, I'll go Rucker. Yeah, I mean it's like you mentioned. Every time we needed a big hit, he had one, and he's a guy. I mean, he's only a junior, but it seems like Jake Rucker's been in a Tennessee uniform for several years now. He's been wearing the orange and white for a while, so it's good to see guys like that I assume he's one of the leaders of your program, a guy that's, he's out there at the hot corner, third base. He's a junior. He's established now. I think Vitello mentioned he's played a lot of SEC ball now, so it's good to see the guys with experience like that stepping up, not only when they have to, but to start the SEC season like that. So I'd have to go Rucker.
It's crazy that we're talking about Rucker being one of the most experienced because, like, it seems like yesterday he was a freshman. He was one of those incoming freshmen that was going to make a huge impact, and he's done that since he's been there. But so I went Blade Tidwell. So let's talk about improvement. We don't want to nitpick because you won the series. There's not a lot to just really complain about. But if you were to, maybe something that Tennessee must improve on to really show out in the Southeastern Conference, what is it? Dylan, we'll start with you.
I think it was my thing last time, but still the runners on base. I know we had a couple. I know I believe it was in the Saturday loss, had a couple situations with bases loaded, guys getting left on base. But I mean, like you said, that's kind of nitpicking because first game you put up 11 runs. I mean, it's offense looked pretty solid all series long. But yeah, if I had to nitpick, I would say that. But I mean, when you're putting up 11 runs in a game, no complaints from my side over here.
Yeah, 29 runners left on in the series. That's not ideal. And you mentioned on Saturday you had 2 chances. You stranded the bases loaded twice. That's something that it can get you beat if you let it. And Saturday it was kind of the case, but you still should have won that game. You had two opportunities to get quick outs in the ninth and just didn't. So Murphy, what's your kind of nitpick on the weekend?
Yeah, I was gonna say the runners left on base just because as you get into SEC play, we talked about it. You're going to be facing better pitching, better competition, so those chances to score runs are going to become less and less each week. But also, I think I mentioned it last week. You still got to, and I know they're working through it, and they got a bunch of guys that can pitch in different situations, but still trying to figure out who fits where, because I think you've got two pretty good weekend starters in Dallas and Tidwell, and then who's going to be that third guy? I know Leith is out, so you have a hole there, but who's going to be that guy? Are you going to go with Heflin, or are you going to go with somebody else? Elijah Pleasance, McLaughlin, I don't know. So, and then the bullpen, kind of a revolving door there, so to speak. You got so many different guys who can do different things and pitch in different roles. So again, that's kind of nitpicking because they have guys who can do a lot of different things on the pitching staff. It's just, I think, maybe defining the roles a little bit more so guys know what they should be expecting to encounter each series. And it's going to be different. I know that, but I think that might help calm guys down a little bit, especially some of the younger guys.
Yeah, I'm interested in that kind of third starter. If they do start Will Heflin, are they just basically going to do that game by committee, kind of they did on Saturday? That's kind of where I'm at right now, is like they don't really know, or are they saving it for Jackson Leith? That's to be determined, I guess. But yeah, that's one that I kind of had, but also I'll go a little bit different. I'll go needing production out of your last four batters in the lineup, whoever they are. Just kind of have struggled throughout this season. You had combined 6 hits out of those four, out of the last four in the lineup. 6 hits, 1 RBI. We mentioned Jake Rucker had a big grand slam. Him and Liam Spence had 9 of the 11 RBIs on Friday. So you can't expect them to do that night in and night out. So I think you need some production out of the bottom of the lineup. And, hopefully, Pav gets going. Ferguson gets going. I think Lipsius had the sole RBI, and I think it was off a walk. So it wasn't even really a hit that drove in a run. So I want to see more production out of the bottom of the lineup. Do y'all have anything else that y'all kind of want to mention in this weekend? Anything at all?
I think Murphy mentioned it, but how about our boy Jordan Beck showing off the cannon from right field on that throw? I think he sent the text while I was working, and then I saw a clip later, and I was like, I mean, we mentioned the Jordan Beck fan club before, but the guy just does it all. I mean, he mashes, and then he's got a solid glove, solid speed, and now we know he's got a solid arm too. So that play stood out to me because it's just awesome to watch, and that's a big turning point in the game if that run scores right there. I mean, you never want to let a team think they've got a chance when you've got your foot on the gas. So that was a big play that stood out to me. I know Murphy alerted me to it, but yeah, that was a solid play.
Yeah, I think that section of MLB scouts were probably drooling over that.
Yeah,
because I know like the Cannon, is it Jonathan Cannon? I think is who had pitched against Tennessee on Sunday. He was actually a freshman All-American in that short time period last season. And, I know a lot of scouts were there to see him because he's like 6'6". But the fact that we were able to take him out pretty early, he got, I think in like the third inning, he was up to 75 pitches and they had to pull him. So yeah, I'm sure those MLB scouts were there to watch him, but I'm sure Beck made them, bat an eye his way as well.
Yeah, I mean, Beck, you're talking about a guy that was a draft pick out of high school anyway. I think he's out of Hazel Green High School down here in my neck of the woods. So I think he got picked by the Red Sox in one of the earlier rounds, really. I
think it was the 14th.
Yeah, which how many is there? Is there 70 in baseball? There's too many to count.
Like 40, something like that.
40 something. Yeah, I mean, so that's I think that just speaks to Vitello too, that he's landing guys like that. I mean, I'm sure the paycheck isn't huge for a 14th round, like a first first round top 10 guy is, but bringing guys like that in and getting them bought into your program and having them stay for a couple years now over the big leagues. I mean, I think that just kind of speaks where Vitello's got the program right now and where it's headed to.
Yep. Murphy, anything else on this weekend?
Yeah, I think somebody mentioned it before, but I really liked how they responded coming off that loss Saturday, then coming in Sunday and kind of leaving it behind them, learning from it. You're going to face adversity in a long baseball season. You're going to have games like that where everything doesn't go your way, and you have chances to score runs and you don't come through and then end up losing the game late in it. So I loved how they came out Sunday with a clean, fresh mind and hit the field and took it to Georgia again. I mean, like I said before, I'm never going to be upset beating Georgia in anything. So that stuck out to me.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes back to Dylan's point of just buying into a program. That's a response you want, and you only get that when you have guys that are bought into a program. So this week, you have Eastern Kentucky. It's in the top of the third right now. Tennessee's up 3-2. Some new guys in this lineup. Logan Steenstra, Kyle Booker. I'm sure I'm missing some as well. Jake Fitzgibbon is on the mound. So some new guys getting some, I mentioned earlier, if those, guys in the bottom of the lineup don't start stepping up, you could see, there's guys itching to get in the game. Trey Lipscomb's another one. He had a double in the game and an RBI. So who, let's talk about who would be Tennessee's X factor. If you had to pick one, I think Dylan kind of took mine. It has to be Pavoloni. Like if he gets going, then you're like, holy crap, this team is really going to make some noise. Murphy, I'll start with you. Who's your X factor?
Let's see here. I mean, I'll go Drew Gilbert just because I think as he goes, the team's going to go. Mm-hmm. He seems to be, the light that lights the candle, if you want to say that. I don't know if that's a metaphor or whatever, but
sounds good to me.
He gets the team going. I mean, he has that energy. He brings it every game, and if he's going, I think they're going to be winning games as long as he's hitting the ball and playing great defense out in the outfield and running around with that hat flying off in the outfield. So I think you could go with a couple different guys there, but I think he probably would be the X factor for me, just singling him out.
Hey, Dylan, what you got?
Yeah, if it's not Pav for me, then it's Jackson Leith. Just because, I mean, I know we've mentioned it before. You've got a lot of guys that are capable of stepping up and taking that third spot in the rotation. But to me, he's the most obvious choice. Now you got to get him healthy first off. I think Landon kind of brought it up before the last show. If how hurt was he really? Like, were we resting him for the Georgia series? Well, still didn't go. So you hope it's not anything serious. It doesn't sound like it is. So maybe they're just giving him. I mean, when you're still winning SEC series, there's no need to rush somebody back, especially if you've got guys like Tidwell stepping up. So, but if it's Leith, if he can step up and really establish himself as either the Saturday or Sunday starter, I mean, you're looking at a team that, even when the offense inevitably, don't want to speak it into existence here, but it's going to happen. I mean, you're not going to score 11 runs every game. When you have those offensive struggles, it helps to know that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day you've got somebody trotting out there that gives you a solid chance to win. So if it's not Pavoloni, I'd go Jackson Leith. Just get him healthy.
Awesome. Well, so Eastern Kentucky today, and then we got LSU this weekend. They're ranked number 22 per D1 baseball. They lost their series this weekend against Mississippi State. They lost Friday and Saturday, won on Sunday, I think 8-3. One thing to note about LSU, though, they lead the nation in home runs. Besides Tidwell, I mean, Chad Dallas, he doesn't have blow by you stuff. But he's great in his location and things like that. So that's where I think Dylan kind of cut out a little bit. But that's kind of where I worry a little bit is Tennessee doesn't have those blow by you pitchers besides Tidwell. So that makes me a little nervous. They've hit 37 home runs on the year. So do you have any notes or anything regarding LSU, Murph?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I looked them up and noticed that they were actually leading the nation in the home runs. I didn't know that coming into it, but I think that would worry me too, because when you don't have a guy or multiple guys like a Tidwell who's got that plus fastball and the plus stuff that can, when even if he comes into his start now, I don't know if it's going to be Saturday or Sunday, and he doesn't have his A plus stuff, he's still got good enough stuff to get outs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if a Chad Dallas or Heflin or whoever has that type of stuff, that if they don't come with their A plus stuff, it might be a rough day. So that kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier about finding that third starter. Without Leaf, as you go through the SEC conference play, it's going to be tough if you don't have, a guy come out with their best stuff, and you're not always going to have it. So I think figuring that out is super key. But yeah, that definitely worries me too. And again, I think just keep playing the way you're playing. Everything's going great, or not great, but you're playing well. You're hitting the ball well. Pitchers are collectively pitching well. So don't take the foot off the gas. Continue doing what you're doing. Keep putting in the work, and I think the wins are going to come.
Yeah, whatever Oral Roberts did to LSU earlier in the season, just watch that tape and do exactly what they did, because they absolutely demolished LSU. Somehow, some way. There's something about Oral Roberts right now. I don't know if it's just it wasn't in March, so I can't say it was March Madness. It's just madness. Oral Roberts has just come to play against top teams. So they knocked off Florida in basketball, and then they've knocked off LSU in baseball. So exciting stuff from Oral Roberts. I'm looking forward to this series, because we haven't had a home SEC series since 2019, which is crazy to me.
I know, right? It's huge. I was going to try to make it up to Knoxville to see this series in person, but just some things personally didn't work out, unfortunately. But yeah, I was really looking forward to being there in Knoxville for this series. But great to have baseball back in Knoxville. When you said that, it dawned on me that they haven't played an SEC series at home since 2019, which, like you said, is crazy. So it'll be great to get baseball back, or SEC baseball back on Rocky Top.
Yeah, hopefully the legends of Lindsey Nelson are there. That'd be awesome. See them get rowdy in the crowd. I just want to see a kind of I don't think you'll ever have a normal crowd this season, but I'd like to see, close to a normal, or packing the porch. I like to see people in the outfield grilling out and stuff like that. It makes the atmosphere so much better. Those that grilled hot dog and hamburger smell. So I'm looking forward to seeing this atmosphere. Dylan, before you kind of went off there for a second, we were just talking about welcome LSU at home this weekend. Do you have any notes or anything from them? We did mention that they lead the nation in home runs, and that makes us a little bit nervous. But do you have anything else on the Tigers?
If Coach O's in attendance, that makes me a litlittle nervous too. If he's going to travel down with them, I could hear him yelling in the crowd right now. But
he's taking a fan boat.
Yeah, he's going to pull up right next to Nealon. Maybe he can teach our boys something while he's there too. I don't know. But no, it doesn't really worry me. That obviously tells me they're a good hitting team, or they've got potential to never really be out of the game. Mm-hmm. But I guess it would worry me most against Tidwell, but we just saw that SEC opponents don't really seem to phase him. So a freshman like that, you're always worried that they give up a bomb like that, and is it going to stick in their head? Is that something that's a hurdle for them? So we saw that it didn't really. He didn't give up a lot of contact. I think only 4 hits in his start. So
if 4 hits in every start, isn't that wild?
Yeah.
So his 5 outings, he's had 4 hits on each one of those outings.
Consistency.
Yeah,
you love to see it. So if there was anything, it's that. I know Chad Dallas doesn't really have the miles per hour that Tidwell, that Leaf do, but he controls his stuff pretty well. And he's a guy too that, if he gives up a solo shot, a 2-run bomb, something like that, it's not going to get in his head either. He's been around. He's He's seen it all before, so it's not a stat you want to see really going into a series like that. But no, I wouldn't say it really worries me that much.
Well, guys, do y'all have anything else before we get off here? Go check out our shows. I'll kind of throw you guys in there. They do the checkerboard check-in. I do more important issues. It's on my shirt. So go check that out as well. Go check us out on Twitter. We'll be having these shows every single week, and I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to this weekend. Do y'all have anything else?
I don't know if you mentioned it when I'd step out there, but shout out Tony V with his 100th career win, fastest Tennessee coach to 100 wins. Was it the Friday win that got him there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out our boy Tony V.
He also gave
all I gotta say.
a shout out in his post game.
Yeah, something about passing by Atlanta, something like that. See, yeah, 2 Chainz. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, you got to be in. As a recruit, you're like, oh, dude, this baseball coach knows 2 Chainz.
Yeah,
he acted like he did. I don't know if he does, but he acted like he did.
Drew Gilbert definitely told him who 2 Chainz was. I mean, if I had money on which player it was Drew Gilbert.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all listening. And we will be back on Tuesday, hopefully with a series win over LSU. Peace.